You know what time it is, Bible Trivia. This is the third installment of the Sellout edition. Imagine choosing gold over God. These leaders compromised, but the price just was not worth it. Let's go. Who gave the order to crucify Jesus, even though he said, "I find no fault in him"? It was Pilate. He gave in to the crowd pressure to crucify Jesus despite knowing that he was innocent. His wife told him to have nothing to do with it because of a dream that she had that really bothered her. And Pilate knew that the religious leaders were envious of Jesus. Those same leaders stirred the crowds up. And it would have been nothing if Pilate was only dealing with the religious leaders. But an incited mob, he didn't want to be accountable. So he was like, nah, this ain't on me. I wash my hands of the matter. But sir, that you sold out. He let fear override justice. Which king beheaded John the Baptist just to save face at a dinner party? Herod Antipas. He knew it was wrong, but he did it anyway. He traded a prophet's life for pride and popularity. John the Baptist had previously confronted Herod about marrying his brother's wife, Herodias. She took issue and she wanted to unalive him, but couldn't. So Herod feared John and he knew he was holy and just. So he just had him locked up. Then Herod had a birthday party and Herodias' daughter did a little dance, and Herod was pleased and he swore an oath and said, "Whatever you ask me, I'll give you up to half my kingdom." So she asked her mom, like, "What should I ask for?" Wretched old mama said, "Oh, the head of John the Baptist." Herod was sorrowful, but because of the oath, and the nobles and the high officers and all the chief men of Galilee were his party guests, he didn't want to lose faith. So mama got what she wanted. Who disobeyed God by sparing King Agag and keeping plunder from the Amalekites? It was Saul. He wanted the people's approval more than God's. The message was clear: punish Amalek for what he did to Israel. Utterly destroy all that they have and do not spare them. Saul attacked, but spared some things. Disobedience in 4K. God told Samuel, and Samuel came to meet Saul, who was not the least bit grieved about what he'd done. He was actually proud and making excuses for his disobedience. Saul let pride take the way, and it led to his rejection as king. Don't you let pride take the wheel. Who caused Israel to be defeated at Ai by stealing devoted things from Jericho? Achan. One greedy move meant defeat for all. You think your actions don't affect other folks? Tuh, and do. Joshua commanded that the children of Israel not take any of the accursed things. And so these things were associated with demonic worship. What you doing with that? You serve a holy God. Joshua sent them to spy out Ai and not to worry about taking a lot of people, because Ai just wasn't that strong. Because they won their last battle in Canaan because they obeyed God. But this time, they got mollywopped and they start panicking, and Joshua starts crying and praying like, "God, why'd you bring us out here to be destroyed?" And the Lord is like, "Boy, get up. You doing all that hollering. Y'all did this one to yourselves." One man's deception and theft brought this on everybody. Child, listen. A little leaven leavens the whole lump. The Lord said, y'all got to get them accursed things out of there and sanctify yourselves. You won't be able to stand before your enemies until you do. So they meet up, going tribe by tribe, trying to figure out who took the stuff. They get to Achan And he was just like an episode of First 48 when the cops stopped asking questions and 2 breaths in, they're admitting to the crime. Bruh. Achan said he stole a beautiful Babylonian garment, 200 shekels of silver, and a wedge of gold weighing 50 shekels. This could make him rich, but it's not worth anybody's life. Unfortunately, that's the price that he and his family paid. Child, like Tank said, it ain't worth telling a lie. These 2 corrupt priests dishonored God's house and paid for it with their lives the day the ark was lost. Who were they? Hophni and Phinehas. So, do y'all remember when Hannah was pouring her soul out before the Lord silently and Eli the priest mistook her for being drunk? Well, these are his sons. And so these guys were called the sons of Belial, which means wicked and worthless, but they were priests. And the Bible says they didn't know the Lord, but they were priests. I don't know now, but I'm feeling like knowing the Lord and the priests not knowing, it don't really go together, but okay. So when the people came to do their sacrifices, the priests did get a portion, but not before the Lord. Man, these boys couldn't be bothered with that. They went for theirs first. They threatened the people with violence if they didn't do what they said. And so they made the people hate worshiping God with their offerings. And Eli started getting up there in age. And so his son was supposed to be his successors. And I mean, it's just me, but I feel like just because you family don't mean you got to pass the church down, especially if they wildin', but you know, that's just me. And when it came to the women coming to serve at the tabernacle, the sons were laying up with them. That's so scandalous. I guess it ain't nothing new under the sun, huh? And so Eli heard about those things that they were doing and asked them why they did the things, you know, but he didn't really bring correction. And so a nameless man of God came and pronounced a judgment of the Lord on Eli and his family. And their lineage to the priesthood would be stripped, and their descendants would not have long life. And the sign that the Lord was standing on business was that both Eli's sons would perish on the same day. And that is what happened. Abusing your role as priest for food, power, and relations, that ain't the move. Learn from their mistakes. All right, that's a wrap on part 3 of the Sellout edition. And this one hits a little heavier because the people were in positions of power and they folded under pressure, pride for personal gain. I mean, I get it. Leadership is pressure, but these are the ones that the people trusted with influence, authority, and even spiritual responsibility. But instead of rising up, they folded. Let it be a warning. Position does not equal obedience. Titles do not make you trustworthy. If you've been watching this series, you know the pattern. The trade is just never worth it. But the good news, God still raises faithful leaders, and there's still time to choose him over everything else. Y'all, let me know in the comments which sellout hit the hardest. And let me know if you want a redemption series. Faith up.